All right, we're live. Welcome to Just Chat Podcast. I'm your host, Uncle Dominic. In this episode today, we will explore and understand how we can develop a positivity mindset. And I know it's very difficult with this world around us right now, with lots of negativity and things going on, saying we can't do this, we can't do that, or uh, you know, lots of problems. So I'm having this as well. So I'm having lots of negativity around me as well. And also, sometimes it's very hard for me to get positive, uh, be positive. So today we are going to figure out how and we're going to understand. And also, we have a special guest with us today. He is Shaun Banks. Let me introduce to you Shaun Banks. Shaun.
Hey, hey, what's going on, Uncle Dominic?
Hey, how are you doing over there?
Man, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited, man. I really
Thank you
am.
for coming to the show. I
Yeah,
I heard it's pretty cold over there right now.
it is. Yeah, it is. It's cold enough.
Could you tell us how cold it is?
Well, it's at night it gets down to about 28 degrees Fahrenheit most of the nights right now, and it's raining, so it
Uh,
makes it even colder right now. And then during the day, it'll get up to the 40s, which isn't that bad, and it might get up to the 60s, and then it drops back down to the 20s. So it's a lot of change in the weather, so it makes it tough sometimes.
are we seeing any snow right now at all?
No snow. There's
No
no
snow?
snow outside. No, we might get a little bit of ice, but no snow. I mean, we're hoping for some snow, but we don't get any of that, man.
Okay. Well,
It'll
we
it'll
don't get
rain
much
and then it'll get
snow
warm.
here at all. So,
Really? Oh
well,
wow.
I've actually never actually seen snow in real life, but I have
Uh-huh.
seen it on television and stuff, but not
Uh-huh.
not real snow. So no, yeah,
Oh wow. We got to get you in some snow, man.
you can melt some of them over
It's a
here.
melon over.
You'll be turned into water by the time I get it.
By the time you get it, yeah, it'll be a cup of water by the time you get it, man.
All right, for
Oh
our
yeah.
viewers out there, we had Shaun last time, a year exactly, almost a year ago. He came on
Yeah.
the show. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit things about him again. So
Yeah.
he is a creator of the Cam Warrior King that has helped thousands of youth in the Atlanta area, and it's been pretty amazing so far, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you are also the author of three books, right?
Yes.
Persevere, Overcome, Win, Raising Extraordinary Kids, and Be Unstoppable Living Life.
That's right.
Well, that's for now. Is there any more books in the future, or have you written any?
There are some books in the future. So we have cartoon characters. It's Team Hot Sauce, and
Team
they're
Hot.
cartoon. Yeah, Team Hot Sauce. Yeah, and they're designed. They're vegetables actually, and they're designed to motivate youth to go after their dreams in spite of the circumstances, in spite of challenges. And so we have a series of books that we're going to roll out that are going to help kids with that. So I'm really excited about that.
And so this is in near future.
Near
Oh,
future, absolutely coming out this year. So by spring of
what?
this year, we'll have it out.
Just something interesting. What about for those who don't like vegetables?
Well, if they don't like vegetables, which most people, most kids don't like vegetables. We actually the bad guys are bugs, so they I don't know if they like bugs. Then they might feel better. The bugs are eating the vegetables, so it
Yeah, I
makes it
don't
fun.
like bugs. Yeah, I don't think anyone likes bugs in.
Nobody
But
likes bugs.
you like bugs?
No, I don't like bugs either. I don't like bugs either. We get enough bugs here. I don't want to see any more bugs. No man.
Oh man, bugs. The worst bugs that we have here in Taiwan,
Mhm.
are cockroaches. I hate cockroaches, man.
Same
They're
thing we have here.
huge, small. Oh man, they're just
Yeah,
they freak
yeah.
me out sometimes.
Yeah, that's the same problem we have here. Cockroaches. The cockroaches are everywhere. I mean, we have cockroaches so big, man, they'll take your hat and coat if you let it. I mean, they're huge. Yeah, yeah.
Well, is there anything you want to let us, the viewers, know about you before we go on?
Man, I'm excited. I'm just excited to be here. Excited to share the topic today and give any insight I can to be able to help listeners be able to, move on and do better.
It sounds great. Sounds great. Well, let's start with a quote first. I always start with a quote. Um, Let me put it up here for a second. There we go. Okay, so this is by Winston Churchill, right? You know who that
Hmm.
is, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so he says, "Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." All right. So again, for the viewers out there, Winston is by Winston Churchill. Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. I think the important one here right now is the courage to continue, in the
Right.
sense that gaining motivation to continue to do something and being positive about it, right? So,
Absolutely.
what do you think about this, and how does it apply to us?
I think that it's absolutely true. Being able to finish and see things through is what really counts because, you know, anytime you have a success, you have a success, and then shortly after that, you're going to have a challenge or some kind of failure or a situation. And then after you have that situation, you might have a series of, quote unquote failures or challenges, and then you're going to move on to another success. And so that happens over and over again in life. And so what you have to do is keep going and push through it. Anytime something is hard, okay, well, if I keep going through it, at some point I'm going to get to where it's going to be better. Nothing is permanent. And that's actually, something that could be encouraging, especially when we're going through a challenge.
What about, for some people, right? For example,
Mhm.
they face all these challenges, but how do they understand that it is not just a failure, that because once you get a failure, most people, once you fail something, generally most people just give up, right?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
or if they try twice or three times and they fail again, they might
Yeah.
just give up on it. So should we encourage them to continue, or how do they gain the motivation to continue,
The
like you
way
work with
that
kids, so
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I work with kids, and then I also work with myself, right? And so I deal with the same challenges, and what I do, um, what I try to do every day is to not stay. You can't stay down for too long, right? We all go through it. We all have challenges where it hurts, it sucks, and you get down. And what I try to do is say, okay, look, I'm gonna give myself a certain amount of time to feel bad about this, and I got to get up, right? And I have to fight to get up, and it's a fight. Sometimes it's easy. Some days it's easier than others to get yourself up off the ground, so to speak, when you're having a challenge. But it's giving yourself a certain amount of time. It's okay to be upset, right? We're in a world where a lot of times we're not supposed to show any emotion. We're just supposed to just deal
Mhm.
with it, and that actually makes it harder. It's first to say, hey, look, you're upset about something. Something is wrong. Acknowledge that, and that it's okay that you don't feel good about whatever's going on. It sucks. Hey, whatever this situation is, I'm missing somebody out of my life, or I've lost a job, or a loved one or something. That sucks. And then it's like, okay, now that I know that that sucks, I'm going to embrace that. I don't like the way it feels. And then after that, I'm going to say, okay, well, now I have to try to do something about it. I have to keep going, even though it sucks. But getting up and doing something will help. And you may not always be able to just get up as fast as you can with other situations. Some situations take a little bit of time. But what I've learned is that when I stay active and I stay moving, then it makes it easier to get through it. Right.
Just stay
It's
active
most
and moving.
Stay active and moving. Yeah, you gotta stay active and moving. So, for example, something happens to you, every day you were going to the gym, you got to keep going back to the gym. You got to go even when it sucks because firing those, I guess, neurons and stuff in your body, getting your adrenaline going, actually helps to make you feel better and put it in perspective.
So you're trying to say I should go to the gym right now?
When I feel bad, I go to the gym. I mean, that's one of the things I do. Yeah, I mean, I go for walks. I love to go for walks outside, whether it's hot or cold. I'll go the trees, the wind, the air. Sometimes I'll go walk in the rain, and it helps me to feel better when I go walk. And I'll go for 30 minutes. I'll go for an hour. Sometimes I'll walk for an hour and a half. I'll go get on a treadmill. I'll go, do some kind of exercise or something. Yes, exercise. That's what works for me a lot of times. Helps me to feel better. Yeah, because I could take it out on the stuff and on the road or on the weights or something like
Okay, okay. I definitely should go to the gym. I've been
that.
procrastinating on that. I'll be like, yeah, I gotta go to the gym today, and like, I'm not there yet.
It's all right. Always
I
tomorrow.
do have one question that I've been thinking about it the whole morning.
Hmm.
Um, you get people to go, the youth to go to your motivational camp, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
the difference in Taiwan or in Asian country is most parents actually sign up the kids to go to these camps, to
Uh-huh.
actually kind of like forcing them to go. So they don't
Okay.
want to go, but they feel like
Uh-huh.
they're being forced to go, and when they
Right.
go there, they either have fun, or either they're uh
Right.
be rebel everything when they're there. But I
Yeah.
noticed in Western countries, for in
Uh-huh.
America, for example, kids volunteer to go for the by themselves, right?
Sometimes, yeah,
Sometimes.
yeah, yeah.
So
Sometimes. Hmm.
how does it work? Like how do those kids over there actually get
Hmm.
motivated to actually go and do it?
That
Right.
should come. It's the idea that they're gonna have fun when they get here. When they come to camp, Camp Warrior King, they know they're gonna have a good time, and so we have a reputation of having a lot of fun, and so the kids want to come. And so once we get them, I mean, every once in a while we're gonna get kids that don't want to come to camp, especially like the teenagers. They think they're too old, they're really cool. It's like I don't want to be at camp, but once they get there, they have a really good time, and then it allows us to talk about all the personal development stuff we want to talk to them about, right? About having confidence and how to have a resiliency, how to get back up when you get knocked down, right? How to just be kind to people because that's something that's lacking right now in society. People are so mean. And so they want to come because of the fun. When they get there, we have fun and then we talk to them about the other stuff.
That's there's one key thing that you said. People are mean right now, right?
Yeah.
I teach at a school. Kids are
Yeah.
kind of mean sometimes with the things they say. As a teacher, oh, we lost Shaun there. Oh no, Shaun is gone. Okay, just to catch up on what he said. Um, he mentioned that we need to, I don't know, continue and keep moving, right? Oh, Shaun's back.
Hey.
Hey, we lost you for a second over
Oh
there.
my goodness. Yeah, here we go. Glad to be back.
All right, so where was I? Okay, so man, I lost my train of thoughts. So
we were talking about the kids wanting to come to camp, and we
right,
talked about how
there we
kids
go.
are
Okay.
mean.
So I was saying, most kids, because I'm teaching in a school right now, lots of
Mhm.
kids are actually kind of mean. The
Yeah,
things they say, but sometimes as a teacher or as an educator, I feel like they're not saying it just to be mean. They're saying
right,
it as a way to interact with people. But at the
right.
same time, the things they say feels really mean,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So as an educator, I always tell my students at school, be positive, be positive. Don't say any negative stuff. I don't want to hear it, you know.
right,
And so, but
right.
I keep still hearing it. So, how do you approach that in your case?
Well, they're gonna at our camp. Our thing is this. It's the same thing. We don't want to hear anything negative about anybody. We don't want you talking about anybody or making people feel bad. But one of the things kids are going to do is they're going to express themselves, and they don't always express it the way that we want them to. And a lot of times, what we've learned is that when kids are mean and angry, they're actually hurt, right? There's actually something going on because hurt people. Nice people are nice to
Mm,
people. And so when kids are saying something rude and mean all the time, it's kind of like, a sign that something's not going right in their life. Either they're mad about something, they're mad about where they are, who they are, what's going on in their life, what somebody's done or what somebody's doing. And so for us, we see it as an opportunity to be able to talk to the kid. Like, man, why are you being a jerk every day? Why? What is wrong?
mm,
How could we not? How could we approach this a different way? Then you have kids that just don't know that they're being that way. Right, they were just raised that way. That might be how their parents treat them at home. Might be how they're, when they go to their family functions. That's just the way that they communicate. That's the way they were brought up in their neighborhood. So they don't even realize that they're being mean. Then you got those that are just jerks and they realize what they're doing. And when they're like that too much, I mean, we'll either sit them down or we'll put them out.
how do we put them out?
Like, tell them to get out of the program. Like, hey, I'll call that parent and say, hey, look, you know, your kid is continuing to, if it's something where we could tell it's just an issue that we can work through, then we'll work through it. But if
Mm,
it's something where a kid just wants to day in and day out just be, rude and mean to everybody, that's not good for the group, right? So we'll say, okay, well, hey, this kid needs to find a different camp to go to because we want to have fun over here. We want
mm,
to take care of each other and care about each other. Because, the way I see camp, we have about 10 weeks where these kids are in a place where they can really be happy. You don't know what they're going through at home, and so we want them to be happy. We don't want
mm.
them to come and feel bad,
Right.
be mistreated.
So I understand in the way that because there's a camp, there's a duration of time, right? And
Yep.
there's always a saying that we should always surround ourselves with positive people, not negative people.
Yep.
But in some cases, like in my case, like in school educational area, we're in school, um,
Hmm.
kids actually do not have a chance to, we can't kick them out of class, we can't
Right.
kick them out of school, so
Right.
they're there for a longer set of time.
Yeah.
So in this case, like, or even if they're in a very negative feel family, or
Hmm.
in family environment that's full of negativity,
Hmm.
how do these kids, how do they get away with it? So how, not how do they get away with it, how do they go about and improve their life, right?
Okay.
So I'm saying in our sense of, well, I'm gonna say Asian, right? Asian, as in culture, like they're not very open. They're not compared to Western people.
Hmm.
We there are things that we have and we keep it into ourselves. We don't
Right.
express it out, and I can see in
Hmm.
my kids as well. They don't
Yeah.
express it out, but
Hmm.
in your guys' case, you guys will express it out, share it, or so it'll be easier to tackle the problem. So
Right.
how does it happen? I'm sure you have some Asian kids that go to your camp as well, and so
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, the one, so it's a couple things. As a matter of fact, one of the one of the people that work at our camp have been working there the longest is Asian, and actually, my mother was his middle school teacher. Is
All
how it
right.
started. Yeah, and so she taught him in middle school, and then he into music, playing instruments, playing music a lot. Which when I read the article, it made me think about that. But he um, will hold some things in a lot, and then he's also very expressive. And one of the learned is
Oh
that,
no.
oh, hey, here we go. One of the things I've learned is that when kids have an outlet, they can deal with things a lot easier. When they have an outlet, whether it's going to be music and playing instruments, video games, board games, friends, sports. When they have an outlet, then they're able to function. When they don't have an outlet and it's just the constant pressure, it's like any person, they're going to pop. Um, what helps a lot of people, especially if they're not expressive or able to really talk about what they're going through, is to journal and write it down.
Mm.
Use your phone and talk about it in your phone, right? That's one of the things you can really do now, because sometimes writing just is, it's a tedious task. It didn't used to be like that, but now you can just talk in your phone and talk about what's going on and how you're feeling and say it exactly how you mean for it to get out. And then the other thing is garbage in, garbage out. And so if you have to watch what you're putting into your body, right? Mentally. So I have in my phone about 125 different positive affirmations that I say to myself. I try to say them every day. I try to look through them. It takes me a minute, and one of my buddies suggested that I put them on the audio and just listen to it and say it.
Right. Oh.
But yeah, but it helps me out, right? And so it's just different things that I need to say to myself that I need to hear every day, and that helps me out tremendously, because then when I have a problem, I'll think about the positive thought that pertains to that problem a lot of times, and it'll help me get through it.
Could you share with us some of the affirmations that you say to yourself?
Sure, 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 sure. Let's see here. Um, Man, one I really like right now that I say is I am on a winning man's journey. Right, so I'm on a journey of somebody that wins. I'm on a winning man's journey. So somebody can say I'm on a winning person's journey. I'm on a winning woman's journey. Right. I have another one is, it is impossible for me to fail.
Mm,
I have one
I like
that
that one.
says, yeah, it's impossible for me to fail. I have, some that say, I am unstoppable. I win at all times. I have some that say, one of my favorite quotes is, forget past mistakes, forget past worries, focus on what you're going to do now and do it. Right. Forget past mistakes, forget past worries, focus on everything you're going to do now and do it. Another one I have is that I say this one, I do not recall the people that have hurt me or the bad things that have happened to me. And I say that. And so then and it's funny because it's like you would think that when you say that, you're going to remember the bad stuff, but you don't. What it does is it programs your mind not to even think about it. And so there's a
Mm.
lot of things that I've dealt with in my life that I don't even think about anymore. And then when it might come up, I'll be like, no, I don't think about that stuff anymore. I don't even think about it, because I used to think that I could use it as fuel to like push myself further. And maybe when I was younger, maybe it worked a little bit, but what I realized is that it was doing more damage thinking about it, right? This stuff, as opposed to just forgetting about it, right? It'll be there if you need to remember it, right? So instead of that, hey, I don't remember the bad things that have happened. I don't even remember the people that have done it. So like a lot of people, I don't even think about it. My mind doesn't even remember those people or think about those people. So things like that, I'll say to myself. Um, as things pertain to my goals, I have my goals. Hey, I have this at this time. I'm going to have this many, subscriptions or this many things at this time, right? Goal setting so that I can keep my mind focused on what I'm doing. Yeah. I tell myself that I love myself. That's a new one. I love myself. I'm proud of myself. Things that you would think somebody would say all the time, but it's different when you say it. One of the things I do now too that I learned from a book is when I see myself in the mirror to give myself a high five. Just say nothing. You see yourself, high five yourself, and keep going. You know what I mean? Just
I,
something to give yourself a
I have
smile.
a tiny mirror in my room. That's all.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you gotta
I
get
don't
that
think I can
mirror,
even see
man.
my own hand to high five. But yeah, I like that. So, but the thing is, it's not that easy, right? To forget the
Right.
past. I mean, the worries are always there. Like we're always worrying about things that happened or things that I've
Hmm.
said before. Like, there's a saying that sticks and stones will hurt you, and you can get better from it. But
Hmm.
words will stick in your brain sometimes. It
Absolutely.
just stays there. If you don't, sometimes I don't want to hear it, it comes back and it's like, oh
Yep.
my gosh.
Yep.
uh, and so I think it's it's difficult, but I think it's worthwhile to try, like what you have said, that reaffirm ourselves every day. And
Yeah. And,
we what was it? I lost words.
well, it's
Train our
well.
brain to think, to not remember those things again, right? So I like that.
There
I
you
like
go.
that.
Yep,
Right.
train your brain. I mean, it is difficult sometimes. I mean, and it takes practice, and that I think is the battle. I don't know if that ever really goes away permanently. Maybe it subsides sometimes. Maybe it just kind of goes away for a while. But
Mm.
that is the battle, right? And just to, every time you catch a bad thought, to hit it with something positive, right? That's the battle. That's the fight, so that you can function throughout the day and feel good. Sometimes the days where I really feel great, I really try to embrace them because it's like, man, I feel like everything is going right today. I'm really gonna embrace this day because tomorrow you might not feel as great. You still got to push through.
Yeah. It's like there's a question that I was gonna ask you, but we kind of talked about it. Like the importance of self-talk in developing a positive mindset, and give examples of positive self-talk. And you
Mm,
just reaffirmed that, the reaffirmation, right?
yep.
So that is hard, but that is hard. Like I said, that is hard, but I think it's worthwhile to do it if we
Yes.
can somehow program ourselves to not think of the bad things and keep saying good things, catch the good things, and then practice it. Like you said, practice it. We
Right.
develop positive mindset
Right.
in the long run, right?
Right.
Yeah. There's
Absolutely.
another question here. Reframing negative thoughts into positive ones. How do
Hmm.
we do that? Because I know that's difficult, right? You
Yeah.
gave an example earlier, like you said, you keep all the positive things, and then eventually, if there's some bad stuff happens the next day, you push it
Right.
over, you
Right.
overlaps it or something, right?
Right.
But
How do you
how
reframe it?
yeah.
One of the things that I've learned to do is to kind of have to give myself freedom to just to be me, to be imperfect, right? With the negative thoughts. So one of the things is that I try to combat them a lot. I'll think about something I'm gonna do, and you hear that thing that says, you'll never make it, and that's never gonna happen. Sometimes, I'll just say, man, shut up, just shut up. I am, whatever that thought is that's telling me I'm not gonna be able to do something, or I can't have something, or that this will never work, or you'll never get to here. A lot of times I'll tell that thing to shut up. Hey, I'm not paying any attention to you. Or I'll read. I read
Eh,
a lot. Yeah, and
so in
reading.
this case, right, we're telling ourselves to shut up. But
Yeah,
let's say, for example, like you work with youth, I work with youth.
right. Yeah.
My kids in my school uh, have this tendency to give up on language learning because we're teaching English, and so
Okay.
they're like, I give up. I don't understand. I don't want to do this. So
Right.
how can we, or how can you, how do you do it? Like,
Uh huh.
help them reframe their negative thoughts. Like, we can do it ourselves, obviously,
Right.
but how
Right.
how can we help those kids to,
Those kids.
yeah, what
Well,
you did before?
the well the a couple things. it's being the voice in their head that they need to hear. So they'll say, "Well, I can't do it," and you're like, "No, yes, you can. You can do it. Hey, let's take a step back, take a deep breath. All right, let's try it again and break it down into smaller parts." A lot of times, kids will see the obstacle as being a lot bigger than what it is, and so if it's like, how do you eat an elephant? You eat an elephant one bite at a time. And so when they're looking at something and they say that they can't do it, then they feel like they're looking at an elephant that they have to eat. Man, I can't eat that. Okay, let's break it down into smaller chunks. Hey, you may not be able to say this whole sentence. Can you say the first three words? Can you say the first four words? Can you say the first two words? All right, great. Let's start right there. Meeting them on a level is what it's called, where you meet them on whatever level they're on. If they're really
Mm.
low, you get down there with them and meet them where they are. What's going on? Why are you feeling? Are you just tired? Do you just need a break? For example, my son, he was one morning he was really he was like, man, I just want to lay here, right? And he was like crying. I'm like, well, what's wrong with you? He's like, I just want to lay here. I just want to be right here. And what it was is that he was tired. He's like, man, you're just tired. But it's getting down to that level and then getting them up to a higher level. But you got to meet them at that level. If a kid says, well, I can't do it, and you stay up here and you say, oh, what's wrong with you? How come you can't figure it out? And you don't get down to their level, they're never really going to rise up. It's going to be hard.
Mm.
But if you have empathy with the kid, hey, I understand. Even if you really don't, make them think you do. Hey, I understand. I know this is tough. I know you have to do a lot of work or you're tired. Let's try two or three words, right? Let's take small steps. All right, cool. Now let's try four or five. All right, good. Let's try six or seven, right? And then build them back up. That tends to work a lot with you. It's getting down to their level, and then building them back up to the level you want them to get on.
I like that. You get to their
Yep,
level, but that's
yep.
difficult, though, especially for
It is
people who are pretty, how to say, proud of themselves, like very
very proud.
prideful.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
some teachers are, you know they have a lot of information. They're well
yeah,
educated, and when you go to
yeah.
kids, they're like, I'm not gonna teach him. So
Right, right.
yeah.
Well, and the other thing too, Dominic, is when they feel that way, to first to what I like to do with kids in situations like that is to say, what, it's okay that you feel that way. It's okay to have that feeling. What's not okay is to keep it. It's not
Mm,
okay to stay like, I can't do it, but it's okay to have this feeling, because that is ultimately, you're going to feel so good when you finally do it. You didn't think you could do it and then you did it. That's where confidence is built. When you didn't think you could do something and you do it. Confidence really isn't built when you think you can do something and you do it, right? It's not necessarily arrogance, but that's not confidence building. Your confidence is built when it's like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to swim these 20 laps, and then you swim the 20 laps, and it's like, I did it, man, I did it, and that feeling, that's self confidence. But so it's okay for them to feel that way, and then you're trying to bring them up to another level.
so I'm pretty sure a lot of kids in your program has that kind of feelings. Like
Yep.
when they come in, they're not, they don't have confidence at all, and eventually,
Yeah. Yeah.
they come up with, like, yeah, I did it.
Yes.
I
Yes.
remember, I think this was a year ago, I think a year ago, when my son went to a camp
Uh-huh.
for about a week, right?
Uh-huh.
Was it a week? I forgot. Yeah, it was about a week, and he
Hmm.
came back full of confidence. I was like, wow, he's a different
Yeah.
boy. Like,
Yeah.
I wanted to be the person to be able to do that for someone.
Yeah. Hmm.
Sometimes I feel like I can't do it for my kids. It's
Uh-huh.
difficult in some ways, but and
Right.
he did it. And it was like he went to a camp, he came back. I was like, wow, you
Yeah.
know. But
You know.
before
Yeah.
that, it's like, do you want to go to the camp? No, I don't want to go to the camp.
Nope.
Please go to the camp. Go to the
Right.
camp. You don't want to go to the camp. Why don't you want to go to the camp? And then when
Right.
he comes back from the camp, I was like, wow, this is a different person.
Yep.
So, like I said,
Yep.
as a parent, we're forcing our kids to go do stuff, and
Yeah.
but in the end, they might get something, but or they might hate it. But
Yeah. Well, sometimes they hate it and they don't appreciate it until later, and that happens a lot. Where kids hate that you make them do something and they appreciate it later. They look back and they say, hey, Dad, thank you for doing that. I didn't like it then. I didn't understand it. And a lot of times they don't like things because they don't understand it, right? It's not they don't like it, but it's like, why am I at this stupid camp? I don't want to be here. I'd rather be with my friends playing video games all day and eating junk food. Why am I here at this camp where I got to learn stuff? I don't want to do that. But then 10 years later, 5 years later, they look back at their friends and they see if their friends are still doing the same video games and they're off doing, cooler things. And they're
Mhm.
like, man, dad, man, I really appreciate you making me go. I'm happy you didn't let me stay and be like the rest of my friends. And so, even with kids, part of it is being empathetic to understand, hey, I understand, but I'm not going to accept it. And it's also, uh, it is positive, it's positive reinforcement, where we're getting them to, it's talking to them different. So, for example, when a kid makes a mistake, right?
Mhm.
You, instead of saying, "Why'd you do that? You're stupid," or you should know better. It's, "I know you can do better than that. I know you can do better than that." Right? It's not saying, "Hey, don't get in trouble when they're going somewhere." It's saying, "Hey, make sure you make smart decisions." Right? It's pretty much telling them, it's positive enforcement. Right? So, hey, I understand, but I know you can do it. I believe in you. I believe you. No, you can do it. You can. Hey, we're going to take a break, but hey, you can do it. No, we're going to get to this level, and it's that positive reinforcement where they start to hear that in their head, and then they respond.
Uh, how do we maintain it though? How can we help them to maintain it? Like
By
they get
by,
this once they get it.
yep,
So how do we help them to maintain it?
you
Is
help
there
them to
any?
maintain it the same way that you're doing it. So it's always, it's that is the job. That job never stops. Tell them that they can do it, never stops. Your kid can be 30, 40, 50 years old, it never stops. Right? You're still, those students, they might get it on Monday, and then on Tuesday they might be back down in the dumps because that's just life. They don't know if they can do it. They knew they could do it on Monday, but Tuesday's different. Right? Just like life, right? You might have seen where you've been saved from a situation 10 times. But that 11th time, it's like, man, am I going to make it this time? And that's
Hmm.
just life. And so they always need that encouragement. It never stops. And that's what makes the job tough, because it never stops. And so, in order to be for the kids what we need to be for them, we have to keep ourselves full. That's by reading, being around positive people, staying away from negative people, and then um, not creating a case against yourself, which is something else I have to remind myself to do. Don't build a case against yourself, which is, don't look at yourself and talk about all the reasons why you can't do something. Oh, well, you failed at this 20 times. Well, it doesn't matter. This time is different, right?
This time is different. I like that. This
This
time,
time is different.
you know,
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
people fail quite often. Like I do myself. I fail quite a lot of things
Absolutely.
sometimes, and just uh, finding the motivation to continue on sometimes is very difficult, very tough.
Yes.
I remember a couple years back now, when I lost my dad.
Mm.
I had a huge impact on my life, and um, I was actually pretty down. I didn't want to do anything.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm married. I'm a father. I have kids. I have a family to
Right.
take care of. But
Right.
as I drag myself to go do all those things I'm supposed to do, at the
Yeah.
same time, mentally, and he's like, I'm not ready for this. Like, I don't
Yeah.
want to continue.
Right.
I've seen people who are down, and everyone tells me, Dominic, you need to give time. You need to take time. I'm like, you don't understand. Like,
Yeah.
everything that comes out of my mind is like saying negative things. Like, the word always comes out, you don't understand what I am being going
Going
through
through.
right now.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
now I have kids who says the same thing back to me. You don't
Yeah.
understand what I'm going through right now. So,
Right.
you know uh do you have kids in your camp that say that back to you, like, you don't
Absolutely.
understand, and you
Absolutely.
tell, yes, I understand, I
Right.
but how do we go
No,
about that?
no, they'll say you don't understand, and I'll say you're absolutely right. I don't understand. Would you like to help me understand? Yeah, I don't understand. Help me understand. And then that's the opportunity to sit back and listen, right? Because a
Mhm.
lot of times people don't want your advice; they just want you to listen. They just need somebody just to listen. They just need to get it out themselves. And a lot of times, I mean, think about it like this: people talk about psychologists, right? The shrink, so to speak. But what do? They ask you questions and sit back and listen, so that the person can be able to talk about it and work out the solution themselves. A lot of times it's just, man, you don't understand. You're right. I don't understand. You're absolutely right. But would you like to help me understand? I'll listen to you. Help me
Mhm.
understand. I got you. I'm gonna just sit here and listen, man. I'm gonna listen, and then I'm gonna let you know I'm listening. When you say something and you're like, hey, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, yeah, I got you. Keep going, and I'm gonna listen. Because no, I don't understand. I don't know. There's no way I can get in your shoes and know exactly what you're going through and the way it makes you feel. There's no way. But I can listen to you, and I can, from listening to you, maybe help you come up with solutions that you like because they're your own
Mhm.
solutions, and then maybe that will help. And then the next time, you know what, man, you just don't understand. You're right. Come on in. I got you. you know.
Yeah, I like that.
Mm,
It's actually kind of difficult in the Asian culture. I'm gonna say because most
yeah.
parents were like, "Yeah, I've been there. No matter what, I understand what you're going through." It's like
yeah.
I say the same thing too. I'm like,
Yeah.
I've been there. I've been there. But actually, it's actually kind of different. Every
Yeah.
situation is different. But
Yeah.
sometimes, as an adult or as a parent, we don't see it that way. We keep thinking
Right.
that, yeah, I've been there. I've done that. Sure. Yeah.
Right. Right.
So we go in a different way, and I guess that kind of backfires sometimes. And
Yeah.
so I guess we should, be a bit different.
Yeah.
it's
Well, I mean, we'll just try to listen. It's the thing. I mean, I think, and it's out of love that we sometimes don't because we want to help them solve the solution. We don't want to see them go through the situations they're going through or to be hurt. I mean, one of the best ways to do it is to just listen, so that they're willing to share. Because you don't want to be the person that doesn't listen. So it's like, hey, you don't understand. Okay, well, you're right. Hey, I'm listening. Help me understand. And then I'll be like, well, what do you want me to say? Well, say what's going on, and then I can hear you, and I can understand. You know.
it's yeah. It's taking the little time we have and put it out there. I
Yes.
uh, Sometimes taking the little time out of our own self is very difficult to give it up.
Yes. Yes. It
A
is.
lot of individuals do not want to give up their time. It's like, why should I help you when you should be helping yourself in this
Helping
case,
you.
right?
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. I mean, a lot of people don't. Time is the most invaluable thing we have, and then people are very selfish with their time. But one of the best ways to let somebody know you care is to spend time. Is to take the time, because that's the most important thing you have. It's not the money. I mean, I can give you, money, $5 or whatever, to go get yourself a hamburger, or a hamburger costs more than $5 now, but but the time, the time. No, okay, I'm gonna sit here and listen.
I,
That's a
I have
really.
a friend that, well, actually, one of my students asked me, mentioned that I told the stories that I do help people who are in need. I give them money and
Hmm.
stuff like that, or help them
Hmm.
whenever I can. But
Hmm.
there's this one time when we were walking together. I was walking with him, and he saw this like a beggar on the road,
Hmm.
and he's like,
Hmm.
why aren't you giving him any money?
Uh-huh.
I'm like, there's lots of reasons why I'm not giving
Right.
him any money, right?
Right.
If I
Right.
don't give him money, it looks like I'm not doing the things that I say I do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if I give the person money, I feel like, am I helping that person or am I
Right.
not?
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like, yes, I will help that person by
Yeah.
giving them money, but
Yeah.
that comes to the idea that I'm judging another person by the way
Right.
they look.
Right. Right.
So in that sense, is that positive or is that negative? Because in a sense that when I'm talking to my student that time, I feel like I'm setting a bad example.
No.
I
Well.
actually took me a while to figure it out. Like
Uh-huh.
I think I still haven't figured it out yet. I haven't actually
Uh-huh.
give him a right answer yet. I'm just like
Uh-huh.
avoiding the question
The
totally.
answer. Well, the thing is that if uh you you also have to be smart with your money. You can't give your money to everybody that has a need, or you won't ever have any money. And the that there's, I feel like, you don't have to give money to every person that is in need. You don't have to, and everybody's not going to understand that. Somebody, well, man, you say you give money and you help people, and then here's a guy, and you didn't help him. Uh, well, no, I didn't, and I don't, and just because I didn't help him doesn't mean I don't help people. Or I say, well, why didn't you help him? It could just be, man, because he didn't even ask. Well, you see him, you see he's in need, you see he's in a situation. Well, yeah, I see that, but it's not necessarily my responsibility every single time. And I mean, everybody's not going to get that. And
Yeah.
what you can say is, okay, well, do you have money in your pocket? Yes. Well, do you want to give them all of your money? They'll say, well, no. Okay.
It's difficult. I think when
It is
kids ask
difficult.
questions like this, at the same time makes me think, oh no,
Yeah,
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 I
yeah.
do want to help, but sometimes I can't give away all my money,
I can't
Like,
give away
and
all my
so
money. No, no, I can't give away all my money. So I can be able to help them at a
I
different
think
time.
in this case we should help when we can help, uh,
Yes.
when we can afford it ourselves to help
Yeah.
someone. It's just like
Yeah.
I have this idea if I buy a BMW or a
Uh huh.
Mercedes,
Uh
I
huh.
can afford it,
Yeah.
but what's the word affording? Meaning I buy it, and then if it breaks down, can I fix it? I'm like,
Right.
I can buy it. I probably
Uh,
can afford to fix
Fix
it.
it. Yeah.
So what's the point of buying one?
Of buying one.
And it's
Yeah. Buy it. Yeah.
like recently we had Chinese New Year in Taiwan, and then
Yeah.
there was a conversation about Tesla. It's like,
Uh
why
huh.
don't you buy a Tesla? I was like, if I can buy a Tesla, sure, but if it
The
breaks
repairs.
down, it's gonna
Yeah.
cost me more money. Look at the
Yeah.
wheels, the huge wheels. It's gonna cost a lot of money just
Yeah.
to change
A
the
lot.
wheels. I mean, oh my god,
Yeah.
you
Is
know.
it worth it? Yeah. As opposed to having the money in my pocket. And the other thing is that no doesn't mean that you're mean. No just
Yeah,
means no. If somebody says, well, hey, man, have some money, and you say no, it doesn't mean you're a mean person. It just means I'm not going to give you any money right now. Now tomorrow I might feel a little different, but today the answer is no. It doesn't mean that, because at the same time we can't be nice to everybody and not be prudent. We can't spend our money on everything and not have any money, because I haven't found a money tree. Have you? I haven't seen one. If I knew there was one out here, I'd be looking for it, man. And I hadn't seen it. So
yeah, that's growing the money tree, and then yeah, but then that comes to another question though. It's also like, is the money more important, or is something else more important? And so
hmm
you have to balance it, I guess, in a way, right?
yeah,
Okay, so yeah, well, let's wrap it up in a.
okay.
Could you give us a like maybe like 5 steps on how can we maintain or develop positivity mindset? Like you mentioned a few before, so let's
hmm
let's wrap it up, put it into 5 steps.
Five steps to
Five
maintain
steps.
a positive mindset. Um, I would say the number one thing is to work every day to believe in yourself. Work every day. Strive, work on number one, work on believing in yourself. Because if you don't believe in yourself, no one else is going to believe in you, right? And if you don't believe in yourself, it's going to be hard to get everything else done. Number two, be thankful. Have an attitude of gratitude every single day. There are so many times where things just suck, and I'll start to think about things I'm thankful for. Simple things like, thank you that I can hear, that I have eyesight, that I can, I mean, I need to eat a hamburger, but I can taste one if I wanted to.
Mhm.
That just being thankful for the simple things, that I can breathe air. There's people right now that are sitting in hospitals looking outside, wishing that they could go out, right? So it's having an attitude of gratitude. So one, working hard to believe in yourself, putting it every day. Two, having an attitude of gratitude. Three, some form of exercise. The reason why I say that is because exercise is really a really good stress reliever. When you're not stressed, then you feel better. When you have a bad day, exercise. Exercise, even if it's just going for a walk, right, releases a lot of stress. Four, I would say um, to meditate on the positive, right? There's a saying that nothing is good or bad, but it's just how you look at it. And so when things happen, we have a choice of looking at some things just suck, right? It's just something's just bad, but it's trying to find the positive in that situation, and it's not always easy to do it, but it's striving to say, okay, well, yeah, I might have, I lost my job, and that's gonna suck, but okay, now I can really, maybe it's the time for me to focus on something else. So I got a bad grade. All right, well, that really sucks, but hey, maybe it's an opportunity for me to do something else. And so trying to find that. And then number five, you were just asked, what's more important than money? And, you know, it's, it is really seeking happiness every day. work to seek happiness, work to find whatever is going to make you happy every day, whether that's hugging your children. I mean, I find joy in my kids, laughing with them about something silly or something that they're doing. Sometimes I'll just get on the floor and do what they do. But finding that happiness, because I've learned that when you're striving to find that happiness, it really doesn't matter about everything else that's going on. You know, you cannot have a lot of money, but if you're happy, you know, you're cool. There's a lot of people that don't have a lot of money at all. I mean, have a dollar to their name, so to speak, but they're happier than the rich people that are living in these huge houses, you know, and it's like, well, how is that? So that would be my five.
Thank you, Shaun. That's a
Yeah.
great wrap up of 5 steps. Well, thank you everyone for coming to the show, and hope you enjoyed this podcast. I'll see you guys all next week. If you like, please help like